I'll never forget this, 10th grade, sophomore year in high school, 3-year high school, sophomore year. It's my first year in high school. 10th grade, Algebra 2, Mr. Nichols, sat in the back of the class. He called up 3 of us to the chalkboard, 3 different problems. Go ahead and solve them on the chalkboard, then you may return to your seat. So I get up there, I write my problem on the board. My friends, they write their problems on the board. And then as they're furiously working the equation, I just stood there. I didn't know how to figure it out. I didn't know how to do this. And so as my friends went back to their seats, I turned and started to go to my seat. And all of a sudden, Mr. Dendy, yes? Where are you going? Back to my seat. Oh no. And what seemed like an eternity, the shame and the belittling and the degrading all began. And as a 10th grade, 15-year-old, 16-year-old male, one of his friends, I began to cry. Not good. Not good. Because I think it was second period. That meant I had to rest the whole rest of the day to hear this from my classmates. And then to walk all the way back to my seat and have to sit down. Those of you who are old enough to remember the show Gomer Pyle, shame, 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 ill-gotten gain. Remember Gomer Pyle? Well, shame is, there's lots of ways to experience shame, but I just want to touch on 3 right now. We experience shame if another person despises us as if we were nothing but objects to use instead of persons to love. I grew up in Southern California. I go to college in North Carolina. There's a little bit of a different dress code from Southern Cal to the tradition-rich North Carolina. In the first event that I ever went to, they said, well, it's semi-formal. Okay, what does that mean? Well, slacks, khakis, loafers, button-down collar shirt, tie, sports coat. Okay, great. And this was the football game. So I go and, I'm all dressed up and I fit in. It's very nice. I get invited to another event. What's the dress code? Oh, it's casual. Oh, right. I show up in jeans and a T-shirt. Casual just meant you don't wear your tie. And you've had this look, haven't you? You walk in and people just, you look like an idiot. I sure do. And I feel like one now, too. Thanks so much. It's amazing how fast a glance, a glare, a stare may just last for 1/10 of a second. May be so imperceptible to most people, but to you it's so obvious. And you're shamed. And it hurts. Albert Camus, in his book called The Fall, speaks of a device called the spitting cell. It's a wooden container where you are placed inside of it as a prisoner. And it's so tight and so small that you can stand there, but you can't move your arms. And as the wood device around you moves up, it presses in on your head, so you cannot move your head from side to side. But all that is there is just this round hole exactly where your face is. And then that's it. And as you stand there, the guard will walk by often. And as he walks by, he'll turn and spit in your face. And all you can do is just close your eyes. He goes on to say, better for the proud man to die quickly than to endure the spitting cell. Remember at the end of World War II, the Potsdam Declaration or the Potsdam Conference called for the unconditional surrender of Japan. And they were very careful in saying it's the surrender of the military, not of the people, not of the empire, not of the country, just the military. And one of the foreign ministers, the secretary of the foreign minister Shinichi Kase urged the prime minister, the emperor, they've really given a lot of thought to this. We need to take it. This was July 30th, 1945. Japan said, no, we're not going to take it. And then we dropped 2 atomic bombs. And then they took it after that. But Shinichi Kase says this as the unconditional surrender was signed on the battleship, USS battleship Missouri. He says this: never have I realized that the glance of glaring eyes could hurt so much. We waited in the public gaze like penitent boys, and every moment seemed ages. Another way we feel shame is when we are despised and rejected by our own group. I think the shame digs deeper when we're rejected by our own people, just like Jesus, whose own people would receive him not. And the double-edged sword of this is that you have to be part of a community, you have to be part of a group to understand and experience what it feels like to be ostracized, isolated, abandoned, set aside from this group. You've been a part of a group before. Hey, come be a part of our group. We're the best thing since sliced bread. Be a part of our church. Be a part of our fraternity, sorority. Come on, be a part of us. And then you do something wrong, and what happens? Rejected, abandonment, isolation. Heard of someone who grew up and their group of people or group of friends they hung out with, when someone did something wrong, they put the person in the middle of a circle and said, shame, shame, double shame. Everybody knows your name. See, when you're in a group of people who have loved you and accepted you and grown to know you, then you have a name. And then when you get rejected, yeah, everyone knows your name. If I get rejected by a group of people that I don't even know, they don't even know my name, who cares? But when I'm rejected by my own people who know my name, that's what hurts. Your name is all you have. I think we've heard that. Your good name is all you have. Don't lose your good name. And the third way is that we feel shame when our group is despised and rejected by another group. I used to laugh about this at first, but now it just makes me mad. And that's when I travel outside of the city of Klamath Falls, go to Medford, Eugene, Salem, Portland, Sacramento, and people say, where are you from? I live in Klamath Falls. Oh. I see. What about it? You want to step outside? Then they're like, oh, yeah, you are from Klamath Falls, aren't you? Or when I'm in Christian circles. Tell me, you pastor church? Yes, I do. Well, what kind of church is it? Well, First Presbyterian. Oh, you're Presbyterian. And guess what? I'm from Klamath Falls. You want to step outside? Just makes me mad. We're part of the body of Christ. Your denomination no better than my denomination. Your church no better than my church. My church no better than your church. We're all just fellow sojourners along the road of life here, just trying to get through it. I help you, you help me. I stumble, you stumble. We pick each other up. That's what we're trying to do here. It doesn't matter what denomination you're a part of. So, ungrace catches us by stalking and shaming. Grace, the opposite of ungrace, grace catches us off guard. Jesus bent down and wrote with his finger on the ground. We don't know what he wrote, but he's just writing on the ground. And as they continued to ask him, he stood up and said to them, let him who is without sin among you be the first to throw a stone at her. And once more he bent down and wrote on the ground. If it is our great desire to stalk and to shame, to play the blame game, to be holier than thou, and to continue to have the focus and direction of my own self-righteousness pointed outward toward other people, then grace will always catch us off guard.